afternoon. Here is the midday news on OGBC. I am Bolaji is a first the major items. Federal government bans styrofoam in ministries and agencies. The Ogun State government has retreated commitment to adhering strictly to separation of power. Iran militia group is suspending operations against the US. The government at the center says it is banning styrofoam and single-use plastic goods in all ministries, departments, and agencies. The Minister of State for Environment, Dr. Isiaq Salako, let us know at the workshop. The Minister urged government offices and departments to follow the new regulation, stressing that the federal government's commitment to doing away with single use plastics. He outlined some of the steps being taken to advance the circular economy, such as enforcing national chemical management policies, strengthening patent policies, and institutional framework, as well as increasing the ability of producers and managed items to adopt the idea of cleaner production. The Green Chamber of the National Assembly has called for increase of security personnel in Plateau and Ekiti states in the wake of recent killings. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of motions of urgent public importance sponsored by Representatives Ishaya Labo and Akin Rotimi at the resumption of the plenary on Tuesday. Following the adoption of the motion, the House urged the Chief of Defense Staff to establish a civilian joint task force in Plateau State, even as it resolved to set up a committee to investigate the main cause of the incessant terrorist attacks in Mangu, Bokos, Barakin Ladi, and Riyam local government areas of Plateau created the committees on defense and legislative compliance to ensure compliance and furnish the House with a weekly report until insecurity is brought under control. The legislative arm of executives need to collaborate in finding solutions to problems affecting the nation. The Senate President, Senator Gospel Akpabio, came up with this while addressing his colleagues at the resumption from the Christmas and New Year break. He urged his colleagues to work and collaborate with the executive without compromising their independence. The Senate President also called on the senators to use the opportunity afforded them as members of the parliament to positively transform the country and the lives of their constituents. Here at home, the Governor, Prince Abiodun, has reiterated commitment of the executive arm to ensure strict adherence to the principles of separation and rule of law in his relationship with the House of Assembly. The governor stated this when he received 19 members of the House led by the new Speaker, the Right Honorable Oludaisi Elemide, on a courtesy call on him at Okimoso on Tuesday, represented by his deputy, Engineer Naimot Salako Yedele. Governor Abiodun congratulated the Right Honorable Elemide on his emergence as the Speaker of the 10th Assembly of the State House of Assembly. He also commended members of the a rancor-free process through which they elected the new leader. From the Temple of Justice, the Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Governor Amadou Fintri of the People's Democratic Party as the Adamawa governor. In a judgment this Wednesday, a five-member panel of the Apex Court unanimously dismissed the appeal by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Ajia Aishatu Dahiru, in the last governorship election in the state. In the lead judgment, Justice Juro, who presided over the panel, held that the declaration of Ajia Dahiru winner of the election by the state's residents electoral commissioner was unlawful. Justice Okoro further held that it was the returning officer of any election that is empowered by results of any election, and that any other person who assumes that rules acts illegally. He also held that the appellants failed to provide credible evidence to show that their claim of non-compliance with the relevant laws and that they won the election with majority of lawful votes cast during the election. The nation's electoral umpire, INEC, says it is fully prepared for the by-election scheduled for Saturday in Cross River State. The commissioner spokesperson of the state, Mrs. Tonia Nwobi, made this known. The by-election, according to her, would be conducted for two state constituencies, and federal constituencies and 34 polling units and four local governments. He explained that the logistics and security had been put in place to ensure free, fair, and credible exercise. Mrs. Moby also informed that no fewer than 100,000 voters will participate in the exercise and will be using INEC staff and not ad hoc staff for the election. You're listening to the Midday News on OGB FM. An Iraqi militant group suspected to have launched a drone strike in Jordan that killed three U.S. soldiers says it has suspended operations against the U.S. Kateb Hezbollah, the Iran aligned group that took credit for the attack on Sunday, said it has to prevent embarrassment of the Iranian government. The US President, Mr. Joe Biden, said he had decided on how to respond to the attack but did not elaborate. Iran has warned it will retaliate against any attack on its interest. Earlier, it denied US and British accusation that it was involved in Sunday's attack. The US has hinted armed response that has come in. The three US soldiers were killed along the Jordan border by a drone that was reportedly made in Iran. A Thai court on Wednesday ordered the kingdom's most popular political party to end its campaign to amend the country's notorious strict royal defamation law, dashing its supporters' hopes for reform of the powerful monarchy. The Constitutional Court in Bangkok ruled that the Progressive Move Forward Party, which won the most seats in last year's election, violated the constitution through its campaign to amend the less Majesty law. It rules that the Move Forward and its leaders, including former Prime Ministerial hopeful Peter Libjaronarat, monarchy through their actions. In his ruling, the court said many Move Forward lawmakers had campaigned to abolish the less Majesty law that faces charges under the royal defamation legislation or used their position to bail out others charged under it. The court ordered the party to stop any act, opinion, expression, speech, writing, publishing or advertisement, or conveying any message in other forms with the aim to abolish or amend the law. Elsewhere, Imran Khan and his wife, Bushra Bibi, have been jailed for 14 years, the second sentence handed to Pakistan's former Prime Minister in 2 days. The two sentences came just a week before the South Asian country is due to hold an election in which he is barred from standing. Mr. Khan, who was ousted as Prime Minister by his opponents in 2022, is already serving a 3 year jail term for corruption. He also said the numerous cases against him are politically motivated. The case revolved around accusations over state gifts that he and his wife received while in office, while Tuesday's case for which he was sentenced to 10 years for leaking classified state documents. Dense fog has caused travel chaos in India's capital, Delhi, with dozens of flights and trains affected. Reports have said 50 flights and nearly 2,000 trains have been delayed. Hundreds of departing flights were delayed by 25 minutes, and on average, and flight arrivals were delayed by 8 minutes. However, passengers have been complaining of being stranded for hours at the airport. Delhi airport authorities had issued a flight advisory on Monday asking passengers to contact their airlines to check update flight information. On sports, West Ham have accepted an offer from Lyon to sign winger Berama on loan until the end of the season. If the deal goes through, it could include an obligation to buy €15 million, with the final decision now in the 28-year-old Algerian hands. Berama joined West Ham from Brentford in October 2020 and his current deal runs to 2026, but he has been an inconsistent performer during his 3 years with the Hammers. He started last season's Europa Conference League final against Fiorentina and scored the opening goal from the penalty spot in West Ham's momentous 2-1 win. Security is central to the country's development and contributes to ensuring a secured society. To end media news, another look at the major items. The Minister of State for Environment, Dr. Ishaq Salako, while speaking at the workshop in Abuja, banned styrofoam in ministries and agencies. Playing host to 19 members of the Ogun State House of Assembly, led by the new Speaker, the Right Honorable Oludai Alemide, on Tuesday, Governor Dakota's commitment to adhering strictly to separation of power. He also added that Iran militia has suspended operations against the U.S. The Chris Adelakun and broadcast from OG